Major breaking news last night, and that is that the January 6th committee investigating the Trump riots has now laid out in clear terms the possible criminal charges against Donald Trump. Now, remember, they can't bring criminal charges. These are members of the House. They have investigative powers. It is up to the Justice Department, currently guided by Attorney General Merrick Garland, to decide, are we bringing criminal charges or not? But there was this open question for a very long time. Would the investigation point to criminal charges against Donald Trump? And the answer now is yes. And of course, the million-dollar question is there a prosecutor willing to bring charges against a former president? So we'll start with a New York Times article. January 6th committee lays out potential criminal charges against Trump. In a court filing, the panel said there was enough evidence to suggest Trump might have engaged in a criminal conspiracy as he fought to remain in office. These are such strange times where outrageous things are normalized. Things that would have been unthinkable at times past. 5 of them happen in a week, and we just kind of don't react. This is not normal. This is a really big deal. Not only is there a committee investigating riots incited by a former president desperate to keep his grip on power on January 6, 2021, but they believe that he may have engaged in criminal conspiracy. The House committee investigating the riots said there is enough evidence to conclude former President Donald Trump and some of his allies might have conspired to commit fraud and obstruction by misleading Americans about the outcome of the election and attempting to overturn the result. This is a big, big deal. In a court filing in a civil case in California, the committee's lawyers, for the first time, laid out their theory of a potential criminal case against Donald Trump. They said they had accumulated evidence demonstrating that Trump, the conservative lawyer John Eastman, and other allies could potentially be charged with criminal violations, including obstructing an official proceeding of Congress and conspiracy to defraud the American people. The filing also said the men might have broken a common law statute against fraud through Trump's repeated lies that the election had been stolen. The filing disclosed only limited new evidence. The committee asked the judge in the civil case to review the material behind closed doors. This is insane. In asserting the potential for criminality, the committee largely relied on the extensive and detailed accounts already made public of the actions Trump and his allies took to keep him in office after defeat. CBS reporting, House January 6 committee says it has evidence Trump and allies engaged in, quote, criminal conspiracy. The House Select Committee investigating the riots said in a court filing, it has evidence Trump and allies engaged in a criminal conspiracy by trying to block Congress from certifying the election. This is the first time the committee has laid out a potential criminal case against Donald Trump. This is a significant moment in the investigation because it includes rare disclosure of findings, excerpts from depositions and interviews with witnesses, including Mike Pence's top advisor, former Justice Department leaders, and those close to Trump. Newsweek, Donald Trump could face criminal charges after explosive John Eastman emails revealed. Remember, John Eastman's this lawyer who laid out what a theoretical framework for trying to flip the results of the election. This is not normal, but, and I know I'm getting now dozens of emails and voicemails from viewers and listeners every day. David, do you still think Trump won't go to prison? Yes. Yes, I do. And people who say, David, when you say that, it makes it less likely he will go to prison. No, I'm a random guy with a microphone. No potential prosecutor cares what I am saying. It doesn't make any difference. We have a situation here where, think of the steps. First, there has to be some prosecutor willing to be the first to charge Donald Trump, a former president. That already takes a lot. And it doesn't seem Merrick Garland is going to be that guy. We've talked about Southern District of New York. We've talked about Manhattan District Attorney. We've talked about Georgia. Are any of these prosecutors willing to be the first? I don't deny that if one prosecutor filed charges, more would fall. I believe there would. I believe that there's many prosecutors willing to be the second prosecutor or the third prosecutor to file charges against Trump. I'm not seeing any evidence anyone is willing to be the first. If you did see that, in almost 99% of these types of cases, you don't get a trial. You get some kind of a plea. You get charges being dropped because things get complicated, etc. If you get a trial, you don't necessarily get a guilty verdict. If you get a guilty verdict, you almost certainly don't get prison time. So think about the number of steps here. So yes, if you want my opinion, and that's all it is, I don't think Trump does a day in prison. Will we see charges at some point? Maybe. That's far more likely than prison time, but that is still my belief at this point in time. If you disagree with me, let me know. I want to introduce you to Imi, the world's first instant ramen that is low carb, high protein, and 100% plant-based. Each serving of Imi is packed with 21 grams of protein, 19 grams of fiber, has only 5 net carbs, works for keto diets, and 35% less sodium than traditional ramen brands. I've been making it at home just like any instant ramen. It's ready in just a few minutes. You can use the microwave, you can use the stovetop. You really can't beat the convenience. But with Imi, you can feel good about the ramen you're eating because of all the fiber, the lower sodium, and it is plant-based, which I love, even though I'm not vegan or vegetarian. But the best part is it's so well packaged. It comes in flavors like spicy beef, tom yum shrimp, black garlic chicken. The taste and the quality of the ingredients really sets it apart from any other instant ramen I've had. And Imi is giving my audience $5 off a variety pack when you go to imieats.com/Pacman and use the coupon code Pacman. The link is down below.